what's this? Breaking news, apparently there are custom magic cards that your people make that are pretty good. And here they are. Our first card today is Chess Playing Pigeon, an unglued style card with a silver border. It is a creature for 1 and 2 white for a 1/1 with flying. It also has a very unique, interesting, kind of wacky ability where you tap and choose a specific rule in the comprehensive rulebook. Until end of turn, just kind of ignore it like it's not even a thing. So I could say ignore that flying has to be blocked by flying. Or I could ignore the fact that trample does damage to another player through another creature. Or maybe I could just ignore the fact that mana empties at ends of phases and pools. Let's do that one. I'll just store up my mana for the rest of the game. It's a really interesting ability. I think a lot of times you have to study the rules to know exactly which rule you want to eliminate. Number 4 are the Canco starters. I'm not sure what these are from. I think my notes here says something about Pokemon. I'm not entirely sure. I'll just cover them anyway. The first on the list that we've got are Bulbasaur and Ivysaur. And Bulbasaur, being a 1 green plant beast for 1/1, has the ability to have, where I'm assuming all these other starters have, if they're the only creature in your opening hand, you may reveal your hand and put them onto the battlefield. So you get to have them kind of like the Pokemon trading card game, I'm assuming, where you get to put them out. I don't know for sure. It has a 3 mana to transform it ability, which it turns onto its other side, which I'm assuming you can also see here, becomes Ivysaur. A 3/3 that says when this creature transforms into Ivysaur, search your library for a forest card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Not as good as, say, Kodama's Reach or some other spells where it allows you to get the forest directly onto the battlefield, but hey, it gets you another land for your next land drop. Finishing off this stack of starters is Venusaur, the final evolution of the chain, I'm assuming. For 2 and 2 green, it's a 5/5, where you can sacrifice a creature named Ivysaur rather than pay Venusaur's mana cost. Now, this actually is really good, because you could just supplant this as soon as you transform Ivysaur for 3 mana. You get the 4th mana when you transform Bulbasaur into Ivysaur, so you can either just straight up play Venusaur, or you could just sacrifice Ivysaur and play it anyway. You know, whatever. When Venusaur enters the battlefield, search your library for a forest card and put that card onto the battlefield. Hey, that's actually good. It's what I said Ivysaur should do, but it does it when you get Venusaur. So, you know, it's extra ramp, and that's kind of fits into what Venusaur does in Pokemon. I still don't know. The number 3 upvoted card is Mining Den, a land that enters the battlefield that taps for 1 colorless mana, which I noticed that it actually hasn't been changed to a colorless symbol. You may pay 2 mana as well to put Mining Den from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Activate this ability only time you can cast sorcery. So, it actually lets you ramp extra because it doesn't count as playing your land for the turn. I suppose it's interesting because it actually could count for landfall, I believe. There's a lot of interesting synergies with this card that aren't readily apparent, but if it was a real card, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people would be excited for it. This card has actually many similarities to Drownyard Temple, where it has the ability for 3 mana to be able to draw it back from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So, I can see where they're going with this. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 2 is called Toothpaste and Orange Juice, an unglued style card where you pay 1 and a white for an instant to brush your teeth using toothpaste if you do gain 3 life, so apparently I've gained life. 1 and a green for an instant to drink a glass of orange juice. If you do, target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Now, this part at the bottom here is very interesting. It says, use, don't do it, don't do it, don't do... I'm not entirely sure because, I mean, I've never heard of such a combination, so I'm going to try it right now. Okay, here we go. Here it is, the number one upvoted custom magic card of the week. We have a land, Cove of Idle Thoughts. Tap, add 1 colorless to your mana pool. Still doesn't have the colorless mana symbol. And then tap to add 2 colorless to your mana pool. You can't cast this mana to cast spells. Very interesting. Only good for creatures. Eldrazi will love it. Oh, and one last one, an honorable mention, Galacto Shard Swapper. I'm assuming he's swapping between Alara Shards, or is it Alara Regions? Who knows? This card is great. Tune in next week for more submissions, and check out my other video content on my channel, of course. Meanwhile, I have to get this printer fixed. Oh, stay watching, observers.